Best scenes of Footsteps of My Father. Interior, lawyer's office day. Isaac Cohen sits across the desk from Fritz. Both on edge, their eyes dart from each other to the desk phone and back. It rings. Fritz answers and listens without expression.
That's in the opinion?
He jots down something, nods, hangs up. He stares Cohen's way. His eyes light up. A mile-wide grin follows. Cohen lets out a sigh of relief. They share a vigorous handshake.
Isaac, not only is this a win for Arthur and his family, but it's a win for the rights of all Americans to speak freely. The clerk quoted Frankfurter. A naturalized citizen has as much right as a native-born American to criticize public men and measures and to express silly or even sinister-sounding views.
That's very good news. Very good.
Fritz gets up. He steps over to a cupboard.
Well, I don't normally.
He opens the cupboard to reveal some glasses and bottles.
What's your pleasure?
Schnapps, if you...
Schnapps it is. Perfect.
He pours for two, returns to Fritz. Fritz stands. They hold their glasses up. The phone rings.
Excuse me, my wife is...
He answers.
I should be home in,
Mr. Fritz. Zeno Fritz, are you...
yes, this is,
Good. Only got a minute. Mr. Heinrich asked me to call.
excellent. He heard about the,
Ain't nothing excellent, sir. He wants to know if you got his letter. Any of them.
No, none. Who are you?
Figures. See, he's been an ISO in the psych ward. I'm a cadet.
I had no idea. Well, that's all about to change. The formal announcement will be made on Monday. He and Marie will be...
Too late. They ship out tomorrow.
Fritz glances to Cohen, who senses a problem. Both men put their glasses down on the desk. Exterior, Judge Goldman's mansion, night. Very late at night in ritzy New Rochelle, New York. Fritz exits his car, hurries up the walk to the darkened home. He knocks and rings the doorbell. Again and again. A light finally comes on. A groggy Judge Goldman appears in his robe. Interior, Stein's Delicatessen, same. A masked gang ransack the darkened store. One smashes the locked cash register with a bat. Two others paint the walls with kike and dirty Jew. A familiar voice struggles with a small anchored safe.
Shit. Someone give me a hand.
Interior, exterior, O'Hara's strip joint, same. Closing time, strippers, dolled up, file out. Next to the door, Kai smiles, as each woman hands him some cash as they leave. The last woman, prettiest of all, kisses Kai on the cheek.
Sweetie, ain't you just the cutest?
Kai grins, eyes her from the rear as she leaves, pockets his tips. With a bounce to his step, he strolls down the street. Exterior, Stein's Delicatessen. Moments later, Kai passes by, glances over, notices the door ajar, steps closer, hears voices, peeks in, opens the door. Interior, Stein's Delicatessen, continuous. Yanked inside, whacked in the back with the bat. Kai tumbles, face down to the floor, out cold. Billy turns Kai over.
Whoa. Guess who, boys?
Let's get out of here.
Come on, Billy.
Billy spots a bulge in Kai's pocket, pulls out the cash.
Take it.
Billy hesitates, glances at the walls, sly grin, then stuffs the money back in Kai's pocket. Boy 3 rushes over.
What the hell are you doing?
Billy pushes him aside, hustles to the phone, dials 0.
Get me the police.
What? Don't!
Hey, there's a robbery at Stein's. Better get over there.
He hangs up, laughing, he picks up the safe.
Pennies from heaven, Kai.
The others bolt out the door. Billy steps on Kai as he flees. Kai lies still, a siren wails. Super, January 6th, 1945. Exterior, Coast Guard cutter day. The cutter whips through choppy waters toward the SS Gripsong. On deck, shivering from the cold, male deportees stuffed into every available inch of space. Faces taut with tension. They close in on their fate of deportation, crouch to avoid the icy winds. The pastor prays. Barely visible at the rear of the pack, starboard side, his head and body leaning aft, Arthur in handcuffs, huddles down for warmth, tucked below the bulwark of the ship. Inside, the women and girls press so close together they can barely turn their heads. Most gaze straight ahead, resigned. Marie, her face tired and gaunt, ready to collapse to the floor if not for the bodies jammed around her. Outside, over 100 yards away in the background on starboard side, a fast-moving speedboat closes in on the cutter. A pastor notices the speedboat, studies it as it draws near, focuses on the image of a man waving at the cutter. At 30 yards away, he notices the Coast Guard markings on the boat. He stands. The boat honks over and over. The man waves a paper at the cutter. Others react. The pastor charges around the man in his way to get closer. A guard spots the pastor and moves to stop him. Departees stand and make their way to the commotion starboard. Inadvertently, they block the guard's path. The distraction leaves Marie and other female deportees unguarded, and they drift on deck with the men. The pastor squeezes through 2 men and reaches the rail. Arthur, entangled at the feet and legs of the mob, struggles to his knees. He hears,
A speedboat?
Arthur explodes to his feet, works his way to the rail. Below, Robert drives the speedboat and flashes a thumbs up to Arthur. Fritz smiles and waves. Later, tethered to the side of the cutter and near the anchored SS Gripsome, Robert peers up as Fritz, Marie, and Arthur edge themselves down a ladder hanging from the rail above. 2 men, deportees, try to follow down on the ladder. They scuffle with the guards. Once all are on board, Arthur helps Robert remove the line to cast off. Guards pull at the ladder. A pregnant woman stands with her husband. Envious of the departing Marie and Arthur, they share a tearless cry. Marie and Arthur strap on life jackets. Marie glances back up to the ship. She gasps. The pregnant woman and her husband climb up on the rail. Guards rush over to them. Too late. They jump into the water. The husband surfaces and swims toward the speedboat. Stops when he realizes his wife didn't come up. Marie screams. Fritz motions for Robert to bring the speedboat around to help. The ladder comes back down. A guard fires a warning shot in the air. He motions for Robert to leave. Marie lunges for the controls, but Robert guns it. She falls hard. As Arthur pulls her up, the husband dives down. Silence on board as Arthur and Marie hold each other close, stare back at the cutter as a guard with a pole stands on the last rung, ready to help when the husband resurfaces. The speedboat slices through the icy, choppy water, grave expressions on Arthur, Marie, and Fritz. The guard waits. The husband surfaces, gasping for air with his wife. He struggles to keep her above water. The guard's pole is there. He grabs for it, and they are pulled to the ship. Cheers from the deportees, sighs of relief in the speedboat.